Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for November 2nd through 6th, 2020. How are you doing? Wow, what an intense time we're in as we're moving into Mercury turning direct tomorrow. We are at a culmination time in 2020. So let's talk it through. Mercury in Libra. The end degrees of Libra, they're in exact square to Saturn for a whole week. Now, Saturn is representing the energies of Capricorn at home in Capricorn, speaking to this big bloom of Jupiter, Pluto, Saturn together in Capricorn this year. Capricorn speaking to the structures of our reality and that it's time to rearrange and break down some things that are no longer serving us. Now, this is intense because Saturn represents our physical reality, our reality in general, time, contracts, laws, rules, and and also karma. So this square of Mercury in Libra about to turn direct. Now, this is huge because we've been in retrograde energy for so long. And so this is just this massive turning point for humanity, for life in general, for the earth, and maybe for, our whole omniverses out there. So Mercury turning direct is in this square to Saturn, coming up against the laws, the rules. What's really coming on the table, because Mercury's in Libra, and especially those end degrees, is relationships. And it's kind of like, okay, you guys, we've done all this clearing, we've done all this healing, we've done all this learning, we've all done all this seeking, we've been doing, gone through all of this deep inner journey into those dark night places. And what's on the table right now is relationships. And we've got Venus in Libra, and at the beginning of Libra at 5 degrees opposite of Chiron. And then we got Mercury at the end degrees square Saturn. So really, really important energy here for us. And speaking to the power of relationships and where those distortions are that are keeping us from moving into the new age. Because Saturn, it's an interesting energy because Mercury's like, this like rubber band pulling back, that slingshot energy. We're going to feel that in increments as, tomorrow, the next day, Mercury moving direct, Mercury moving into Scorpio, back into Scorpio on the 11th, Mars turning direct on the 13th, Mercury coming out of shadow the 19th, 20th. So the whole month of Jupiter is like kind of pump up the volume. So that Mercury square Saturn is interesting because Saturn's that old guard, like, no, we're going to do it this way. This is, and those contracts and blocks and obstacles in your chart, Saturn will show you your true Dharma path. Like it's your karma, it's your Dharma path, like what you really, your calling. But then it's also the obstacles to that calling. And this is what we're coming up against, right? So square Saturn is like obstacles, karma. And with all this Libra energy, we're looking at relationship contracts. And recently in the last few months, there's definitely been some powerful messages around how we all have made authority contracts as advanced souls, supernova souls, have agreed not to come into their power in this earth evolution, to forget so dramatically who you are and your bigger spiritual self. And this all has to do with the Saturn energy in Capricorn being kind of like, did you do it good enough? Did you prove yourself? Did you go through the right steps? Did you, pass the test and all that? Speaking to deep mysteries around spiritual initiation rites in this earth evolution. And here we are coming up in square against all of it. Mercury says, let's go. Let's move. Mercury is one of our main action planets. That's why it gets all glitchy. When Mercury retrograde, but mostly when Mercury turns retrograde or turns direct. So the next few days could be a little glitchy because it's kind of like, trying to get moving again. And so these contracts and obstacles and blocks that are on the table have to do with relationships. And so what's come through is that these authority contracts that we've made in Earth evolution, it's hard to find them. Like, say, with ancient teachers or organizations or spiritual groups or, you know, governments and ancestral energy lineages and things like that. Not always easy to find. And it seems that these our interpersonal relationships are like, really, that's how we're finding these contracts, and maybe part of the deep mystery why supernova souls, empathic souls, need to have these narcissist relationships, and waking up to that whole reality. This is the whole energy on our whole planet right now, waking up to this parasitic narcissist reality. It's getting more and more intense as the control energies lose their source of energy, of power, of money. And then it's like this, like vultures coming in to feed kind of feeling. But this is showing us the precious, the only commodity we have, which is spiritual life force, connection, love. And all of the controls throughout time that have worked against the light worker, have worked against evolution, have worked against coming into who we really are in our spiritual truth. All of that that's fed that lower matrix energy is something that needs to be continually fed. And this is where this big delusion is breaking down right now. It's like the narcissist mask is slipping. And it's like, oh, you know, this organic connection to life force, to love, to spiritual truth, that is the power. It's increasing, it's organic, it's everything that's being created on the lower vibrational reality, the lower matrix, and the gloom and doom and the drama and trauma is using that ultimately as the source. It is the source. And what's happening is that one by one, slowly, we're taking back our power. And this is everything this Mercury retrograde is talking about, bringing up everywhere in your life, which might be lifetime, like this weird parallel thing playing out, you know, of like these authority contracts maybe triggered in your personal life right now, in this present where you are in your incarnation at this time. And then, but that's taking you into these other dimensional realities, timeline energies where these contracts need to be resolved. So it's so intense right now. It feels like in the dream world, on the astral plane, the energetic work that the supernova soul is doing for themselves, for the collective, when we do get triggered into these traumatic past lives and those contracts come up, it gives us an opportunity to, as we heal, we pull our power back, we pull our energy back from that story, and it collapses the timelines, right? And that story is kind of like, okay, end of chapter, put it away, complete. And you can come bring your energy back into present time right now, where we need you in 2020 at this powerful turning point. So anyway, this Mercury square Saturn is bringing up all of the contracts on all levels where we've given our power away. And it's intense, but it's also showing us the power we have. That this life force and spiritual connection to your own source, which the feeders just want to feed on, is so precious, and it's what fuels all. It's the only source. So it's interesting because with this Mercury square Saturn, squares are always about obstacles and what's in the way, and you can't keep going that way. And Saturn at Capricorn is obstacle. And so it's saying that like these relationship patterns that are really authority contracts from past lives that are playing out in our intimate relationships and our family relationships. Oh, how fun, right? But that's what's in the way of us moving forward. And so it's on the table. And it's so intense because Mercury is such a fast moving planet, but with this transit, it's a whole week staying in square with Saturn. But then there's this other aspect to this. First of all, Mercury turning direct, and wanting to complete this energy of Libra, which is bringing a new paradigm of relationships forward, a new way to do this as we get out of those narcissist feeding situations, where we've given our loyalty away, we've given our love away, and it was used and abused and misused, like feeding the lower matrix. And we didn't even realize we were doing it. So these relationships have to show us where we've been giving this power away. And it goes to the core of the issues of the supernova soul, of your worthiness for existence, because you were supposed to save that person, right? Get them, heal their wound, and then you can have your spiritual path back. And now it's like, now part of this energy has to do with the fact that Saturn is on its way back into Aquarius. It went to 1 degree in the spring of Aquarius, kind of dabbling his feet in there. And so Saturn's like, yeah, I'll play this role for you of like these blocks and rules and laws and walls and cages if you want, but there's something over here, I want to go to that. I want to move into this excitement of building a new world. And maybe that's kind of this energy. It's like the breakdown of the old world is completing, and we got to get going on the transition team, which is you. And how do we do this? It's the deep mysteries of relationships is what all of this astrology is speaking to. And so is it these contracts where we've given away our loyalties, and this energy, our love, our loyalty, then has been used against us, and to keep us in these lower personality dynamics, unresolved from past lives because of the traumas and all that. So it's a very interesting energy, because even though it's an intense square, there's this backdrop of like Saturn being like, Saturn, the guardian of the threshold, this physical reality, is kind of wanting to go play in a different sandbox, So it's like, it's all coming apart, It's like this fabric of reality that we bought into. And that's the big deal. It's like when you do take your power back, gradually more and more, that lower matrix starts to dissolve around you. And it's like the gig is up. And we're understanding now in a visceral way through these excruciatingly painful situations that we had the power all along. And, I don't know about you, but I get really frustrated with this whole thing of like, you create your own reality. And it's like, this is not the reality I want, And then it's like, well, maybe we do, except for that when we're feeding the lower matrix gets to decide what the reality is. So everything right now is telling us the power of relationships and this new paradigm that's coming forward. Because the other thing that's going on is Venus at the beginning. I think Mercury's at 25 as it turns direct. Yeah. And then Venus is at 5, Libra. And so Venus at the beginning of Libra in an exact opposition with Chiron in Aries, these wounds around being who you really are. Now, what's coming up around this is this places and past lives and situations where you like to be on your spiritual path. And this is so huge for the supernova soul. There was a sacrifice, like you couldn't have relationship, you couldn't have family, couldn't have community, right? It's like this is a big program around keeping us from the power of soulmate, intimate, deep, profound love. And that spiritual path, that the relationship, family, and that is something that doesn't go along with it, right? So it's like these wounds over where we've had to choose our own way. The spiritual path, in order to have your spiritual path, you don't get to have relationships. You don't get to have connection. And this is so huge coming up for supernova souls. It's like the more you get devoted and dedicated to your spiritual path, the people go away. And there's multiple dynamics to that, which one of it's good because like those feeders aren't getting fed. So, but a very interesting energy, because Venus there in Libra opposing Chiron is these wounds where Venus just at home in Libra wants to just relate, and have connection and celebrate and have community and family and, gathering together and this power of relating. And then Chiron and Aries is this wounds over where it was like, well, you can have your spiritual path and purpose, or you can have connection, and maybe that archetype of that shaman, a spiritual warrior who has to go off on the quest by themselves. It's a solo journey, and it is ultimately when we, go to break through, we have to do it on our own. But the deal with this whole erroneous story that we don't get to have both. That's what Venus is challenging with this opposition. And for the supernova soul, the definition of a supernova soul is that you came in as a group. You came in to work as a group. So it's not like something like, oh, I don't know if it's possible, or I have to choose between that and this. It's like, no. This relating, this working as a group, this beautiful community energy is your spiritual path. And that takes a lot of rearranging. That comes up with those Uranus transits we've been feeling so intensely. And Mercury will be coming as it moves into Scorpio. It'll be coming back in the middle of the month, back into a square with Uranus again. I mean, opposition with Uranus again in Scorpio. So, wow, because it's like, then do you deserve it? I'm like, it's like, this is a lot of what I feel like is coming up in the individual sessions right now. It's like, okay, here's this potential. Here's this picture that I'm being shown of who you are and your gifts and skills and what you want to do. And it's like, yeah, but I don't know if I'm really worthy of it, and this is like deprogramming in the supernova soul. Now, through this dynamic energy of Mercury square Saturn, Venus opposite Chiron, Libra, Mercury turning direct, it's bringing a new paradigm that breaks through all that low self-worth garbage. In this new paradigm, once you allow yourself to vibrationally entertain this possibility, because supernova souls, when they come together, it's like a mutual respect, deep, profound gratitude, seeing each other in their spiritual light, wanting to lift each other up. See, they had to convince us through this whole lower matrix thing that there was some sort of this whole lack consciousness, right? Like there's just not enough. And you got to fight for what you have and fight to keep it and compete and take it from other people. And, and it's like, we're actually, this true spiritual light, true life force is abundant. It's free energy. It's perpetual motion. And there's more and more. More is more. Right? And so this is the new paradigm. And so if you, supernova soul, out there on your lonely tower path, but you've come here to lead the way in spiritual ascension. And then the definition of a supernova soul is that you came here to work in a group. We've got to really break down all this programming and entertain this other picture. And so it's like, you've got to allow this energy, this new relationship paradigm into your life if you're going to do what you're here to do, be on your path and purpose. Like your path and purpose is to receive this level of deep, profound, based on gratitude, mutual respect, spiritual recognition, seeing the light in each other, wanting to see that light, seeing your light and your expression of your superpowers is like validating and supporting my superpowers, and more is more, right? And this is where we break out of that lower matrix thing. The lower matrix energy can only keep going if we are invested in this idea that there's not enough. So, it's part of this whole massive reset, paradigm reset around wealth and where's the wealth and who has the wealth, and you've got it with your connection to that life force. These painful narcissist relationships are there to show you, are there to help you find your authority contracts, to find where you've given your power away and take it back. And it's all on the table right now. Now, the other thing that's happening with Mercury, it's interesting because it's like, oh, I cannot wait. I'm sure, I just feel this like, oh, I can't wait till the shifts. Can't wait till we have forward motion. I can't wait till Mercury turns direct and Mars turns direct. And like, but then as it starts to go, there's this energy of like, am I ready? Wait, did I do everything? It's just like, we're going to shoot off in a rocket. And did you pack your bags? So it's this very interesting mix of energies of like, oh, you finally get to go, but are you really ready? And this just entertaining this new paradigm of relationships and coming back to this concept that who you are as an advanced soul and your access to life force, your access to spirituality, your access to your bigger spiritual self, that is, in the mode of energy that the supernova soul is here to work with, the word that fits it the best, the energy is love. And just understanding that all of this play out of control energy has to be fed and fed and fed. And you have a direct connection to organic, abundant, never-ending source, a waterfall of love, once you allow yourself to come back into that connection. And these contracts maybe are so crucial because as long as you have those contracts, you're not going to let yourself come into your abundance because you don't want to feed those lower energies. But then there's those loyalties and pulling at your heart and pulling you, into this place of responsibility and this, just such a paradigm shift on all levels. And it all comes down to our relationships. So the other thing though, that's happening with this, just such a powerful time, is that Jupiter is getting momentum now. Pluto's direct, Jupiter's direct, Saturn's direct, and we're coming into the third and final Jupiter conjunct Pluto. This is the quintessential moment of 2020. This is where we run with it. This is where we break through to the other side. And it's about owning that spiritual love and being like, I got the wealth. I'm not playing games anymore. I'm not feeding the lower matrix, and letting that love lead the way, that armor of God, this it's just like, you got to own this higher paradigm. The lower matrix is just trying to seep in and the gloom and doom and pulling you back down, the impossibility of what we've created here on earth. And coming right back to that, it's like, this isn't the reality that we want to see here. And so, but then we're creating our own reality, but only because we've been allowing our precious spiritual light unknowingly to feed the matrix through these loyalty contracts. And so as Jupiter, now this third and final Jupiter transits this year have been off the charts with positive energy. Jupiter's bringing light and the possibility. And the Saturn Pluto was like, the reality has to break down and the laws and rules and the old way and all that is just like, just this kind of tension of just this knowing that our world doesn't represent our true spiritual world. And we know some shit has got to break down and change. But Pluto isn't just about breaking down. Pluto is about something mysterious that we don't understand, something from the future. A force like way out there that we can barely sense, but it's really big, and Jupiter brings light and opportunities. So this conjunction, both direct, the third and final, this is your moment, supernova soul. Mercury direct, Mars direct. So the exact conjunction of Jupiter Pluto is from the 8th to the 13th, and crucial moments there. And it's interesting because we'll have Mercury direct and then moving into that conjunction. And then at the end of that exact conjunction, Mars turns direct. So get your ducks in a row, get yourself sorted, get your clip, snip on all the feeders and the contracts. And, it's time for you to live for you, which is your spiritual purpose, which is you owning and containing your energy and allowing and entertaining the idea of a new paradigm of relationships, and that love is going to lead us, through to the other side into our spiritual path and purpose. Get working on building this new world. Like, This Pluto-Jupiter conjunction, both direct at 22 degrees. Now, 22 is a master builder number. It's speaking to building a new world. It's like a portal to a new world. And there's all of these master souls incarnated on the planet right now, highly evolved beings that are here to build this new world. And yet, most of these souls maybe don't even know that's who they are. It's like this landing of this bigger self. And then you got to hit the ground running and get to work, because literally when Saturn and Jupiter together in December move over into Aquarius, it's like, okay, we've done enough demo to start getting together on the new project, right? And there's a lot that needs to get sorted out that we've been asleep to. So it's like this November energy is ratcheting up the energy vibration, ratcheting up the forward motion, breaking the code of the lower matrix, the light shining in, and being ready to run with this energy. And that, like this knowing that you hold the truth, you hold the power, you hold everything we need to get out of this mess. And that's interesting, because one of the loyalty contracts coming up is this feeling of responsibility to Earth evolution. When you came here to save souls, you sacrificed yourself. You came deep into the depths. Supernova souls often incarnate at the darkest times. And yet, and it's so interesting, because it's like, okay, that desire to save souls, to save Earth, to be here, to shift the energies, that got you here. But now it's wrong. It's like, we can't be in that place. The only way we can take people with us is to first go ourselves. That means allowing ourselves to have relationships that lift us up. That's the necessary part of our next chapter. So it's really powerful. And this Jupiter-Pluto, 22 degrees, exact, third and final crux moment. And are you going to run with it? And I'm seeing this kind of picture of these supernova souls, almost like cartoon, like these not children really, but like donning their cape, like ripping open their Superman, revealing who they are, putting their cape on, their goggles, getting ready. Together, we're going to break through and let love lead the way. The power of love, finally triumphant. This is the energy of this Jupiter-Pluto. We want to grab a hold of it and just establish this spiritual frequency vibration we've been dabbling in, and grab a hold of it and make it way more real than all of this garbage that's playing out. Because it's going to win. It already won. It's the power of the universe, there before anything else, there before any story, there before any idea of Earth at all. And all will go back to that. And so why not now? And that's by us breaking through, owning our permission, our right, our wealth and worth for these abundant relationships, and letting love lead the way. So thanks so much for being with me. What a powerful time we're in. And one other thing that's coming up is we're starting to really feel a very powerful, for the next few months leading us into 2021, Neptune, the nodes of the moon coming into a square with Neptune in Pisces. Neptune is about our spiritual, the oneness principle, the dreams and delusions. But when Neptune transits are all about opening up to more spiritual truth. And so with the nodes, that's like our future karma, past karma. How are we going to get to where we're going, our direction? And so it's a new spiritual direction. And that fits everything we've been talking about. And finally, your time has come. And so time to face up to those relationships that are stuck in the dark ages, or whatever is coming up for us, where these contracts are being revealed. Just know that's just part of it. And use this time to your advantage. And hang in there. I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.